generally when I'm providing consultancy and setting up a strategy for a business, these are the steps I generally take. So I start off with a business assessment, an audit, a gathering of data, and also kind of understanding where a business is at to sort of start to identify that baseline. I then move into a stakeholder engagement phase, engaging with internal stakeholders like management or employees and external stakeholders like customers and suppliers to gain insight into their support for the sustainability initiatives I'm trying to develop and build, but then to align sustainability efforts with those stakeholders and to kind of gain broader expectations and potentially standards. Then I move into my strategy development. So I use my audit information from the first stage, as well as how my stakeholders are going to be involved and what their requirements are. And I start to build a sustainability vision and some overarching objectives. I then start kind of setting that up into goals. So kind of, here's my objectives for my business. How can I achieve those objectives by getting a bit more granular with goals? But then I get even more granular and start to set targets to achieve those goals into those kind of wider objectives. I then move into implementation phase. So here I'm thinking about resources, that could include budget or personnel or technology that's going to be needed to help me achieve that strategy. And then I start to implement those people. I start to deliver training to make sure everyone understands what their roles and responsibilities are. If we notice skills gaps, we implement that training. But then we also start to kind of build awareness throughout the building company of what we want to do, by when, and kind of how we're going to get there. We then move into our kind of monitoring and tracking phase, where we've built our sets of indicators and we're starting to collect data at that point, and we're using the results of that data to monitor to see if we need to tweak and to implement any changes if we feel we need to. Then once we're happy with our timeline, it might be that you do this every 6 months or every year, we do a report and we communicate that report. So you're reporting your progress here to your stakeholders. It might be that your internal and external stakeholders have different requirements and need to know different things, but you tweak those reports to identify with those stakeholder groups. And then finally, review and improvement. So you've communicated your successes and your failures. That is totally fine. It's not about being absolutely perfect, but it's about learning from failures and making adjustments and feeding into that continual improvement cycle. And at this review and improvement phase, this is where you're going, okay, what are we going to change for next year or next quarter? And how are we going to improve our performance? What do we need to tweak? How do we need to approach this differently? And ensure that kind of is all fed back, and that potentially the strategy is tweaked to adjust and to take feedback from that continual improvement cycle. So that's quite a long-winded step-by-step approach. If you just want to get started and you want to know what 3 steps we would recommend, so start by setting goals, define your sustainability goals for your organisation with measurable targets, list the indicators you need to track to measure your progress towards those goals, and then start to gather data for each of the indicators and assess your baselines and track your progress.